Monday Morning Matters. Perspectives from Southeast Asia. Hey, this is Arlene and you're listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. In our Monday Morning Matters, today we are going to talk about a topic that is in the heart of a lot of the younger generation in Burma. I'm talking about the protests against the new education law and the nationwide strikes by a lot of the student activists. And with us now, we have three student activists. They are Burmese students. They are currently trying to push for the protest against the new education law. Before that, let me introduce Joseph Wah, Bobo, and Thiha Wintin. Hi.
Hello, this is Joseph Wah.
May you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am Joseph Wah, so I am one of the activists taking part in these student strikes.
Hello, this is Bobo, and I'm the political activist, and also I'm supporting the student movement and student protests.
Hello, this is Thiha, and then I'm from Burma Federation of Student Union, and now we're marching to the student protest.
Mm-hmm. First of all, I want to know what is the current situation of the student movement against the new education law?
လက်ရှိအနေနဲ့ကကျွန်တော်တို့ကျောင်းသားတွေဆန္ဒပြနေအခုလောလောဆယ်မှာလက်ဗရန်မော်နဲ့ပဲခူးတိုင်းဒေသကြီးမှာကျွန်တော်တို့အနေနဲ့လွှတ်တော်ကအတည်ပြုဖို့ဆိုတဲ့ဆုံးဖြတ်ချက်ကိုကျွန်တော်တို့စောင့်စားနေတယ်ဗျဥပဒေကျမ်းကတော့အခုလောလောဆယ်မှာလွှတ်တော်တွေကိုရောက်ရှိပါပြီ
So students are now holding the protests at Lepandao township in Bogor region, and this is for them to observe the legislation process. So a new draft law has been finalized and put forward to the parliament. It is a law that is amending the already approved national education law.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us what exactly in the new education law that you guys are protesting against?
အဓိကအနေနဲ့ပြောရမယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အစိုးရအနေနဲ့ပြဋ္ဌာန်းထားတဲ့ပညာရေးဥပဒေဆိုတာကဗဟိုချုပ်ကိုင်မှုစနစ်တွေအဓိကရှိတယ်လို့ကျွန်တော်တို့သတ်မှတ်ထားတယ်ဗျ
So the first point in the current national education law that we are protesting against is that the law gives too much power to the central authority. So we are protesting against that system.
အဓိကကတော့ကျောင်းသားတွေအနေနဲ့ကလွတ်လပ်စွာသင်ကြားလို့ရပါတာကိုတင်ယူခွင့်မရှိဘဲနဲ့အမှတ်စည်းနဲ့ဖြတ်တဲ့ဥစ္စာတွေရှိတယ်ဗောနော်ဒါတွေကဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဟိုကျောင်းသားတွေရဲ့လွတ်လပ်စွာပညာသင်ကြားခွင့်ကိုဆုံးရှုံးတယ်လို့ကျွန်တော်တို့ကျောင်းသားတွေနဲ့သတ်မှတ်ထားတယ်ဗျ
Another reason that we are protesting against the new national education law is that the current system also doesn't give the student a choice about what subject they want to study.
Mm-hmm. What does that translate to? That means if you don't have a choice to what you want to study, would that be a hindrance towards students' freedom and also creative development?
အဓိကကိုရွေးချယ်ခွင့်ဟိုကိုဝါနာပါတဲ့မေဂျာကိုရွေးချယ်ခွင့်မရှိတော့တချို့တွေဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဘယ်လိုဖြစ်လဲဆိုတော့ဆရာဝန်ကိုမပါဘဲနဲ့မိဘရဲ့ဖိအားကြောင့်ပေါ့နော်အမှတ်တွေကအမြင့်နေဒီမှာဆရာဝန်ရတယ်ဒီဟုတ်တော့အခွင့်အလမ်းတွေဆုံးရှုံးတယ်ဆရာဝန်တကယ်ဝါနာပါတဲ့လူကကြတော့အမှတ်မမီလို့မကြည့်ရဘူးဒါတွေကတော့ဒီတိုင်းပြည်အတွက်နင်း
Yeah, in the education law, we students we lost our freedom. It's really totally oppressed to the freedom of the students. For example, students like us, we cannot choose the subject what we would like to join. And also another one is the parents, they forced their children to join. They force their children to choose that the parents want, not the students want. So like the things. This is one of the areas. And also, there are so many things like students cannot speak out freely at the university, and also students cannot form the student union freely. That works in the old law, and also there are so many centralized by the government to the students. And also another one is, the using of educational budget is very low, and using of military budget is so high. So what we want is to use the education budget more and more. And then another one is like our country is consists of multi-ethnic. So in the education law, we also have to be we also have to guarantee for the rights of the ethnic peoples. For example, ethnic people they can learn their own they can learn the education by their own language. So these all are not included in the law, at the old law. That's why what we are trying to do is to change that law, and so that we did many advocacy to government, and also as well as to the people, like students, like demanding that student want that one. So that's what we did a lot. So when we give the recommendation and suggestion to the government, as they didn't listen to us, that's why we came protest.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask about what is the kind of demands that the students are having right now? Do you have like a memorandum that you want to give to the Myanmar government or the Myanmar parliament?
So it's not a memorandum. It's a new law that for amendment to the current law. So students, together with other expert and other civil society groups, has come up with a new law. So that's they are proposing that new law to the government and to the parliament. And some of the demands were like mentioned by my friend Bubu here. The demand includes teaching of ethnic languages in school as one of the demand, and then an increase in allocation to the education budget. So currently the expenditure budget allocation for the education sector is less than 5% of the national budget. Asking for a bigger budget for education sector.
So my question is, why people are starting to give support, and the student protest and student march are starting to become more and more larger and bigger?
အဓိကတော့ဒီကျောင်းသားလှုပ်ရှားမှုတွေနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့ကျောင်းသားလှုပ်ရှားမှုတွေအားကောင်းလာတယ်ဆိုတာကဒီမိဘပြည်သူတွေရဲ့ဝန်ရံမှုပေါ့နော်မိဘပြည်သူတွေကလည်းဘာဖြစ်ကျောင်းသားတွေဝန်ရံကြလဲဆိုတော့ကျောင်းသားတွေတောင်းဆိုတဲ့ဥစ္စာကတိုင်းပြည်အနာဂတ်အတွက်ကောင်းစားမယ်ပညာရေးဥပဒေကိုပြင်ဆင်ဖို့တောင်းဆိုတဲ့အတွက်မိဘပြည်သူတွေကဝန်ရံကြတယ်ကျွန်တော်တို့ကျောင်းသားတွေအနေနဲ့အခုနေရာပေါ့နော်လက်ပံပေါ့နော်ကိုတိုင်းဒေသကြီးလက်ပံကိုရောက်တယ်ဆိုတာလဲကျွန်တော်တို့ရှေ့မှာဒီပိတ်ဆို့တားဆီးမှုတွေ3ကြိမ်လောက်ကြုံပြီးသွားပြီယခုရောက်လာတယ်ဆိုတာလဲပြည်သူမိဘတွေကဝန်ရံမှုကြောင့်ကျွန်တော်တို့ရောက်လာတာဖြစ်တယ်ဗျ
So the main reason why it has become bigger is mainly because of the support of the public and the parents of the students. So the student see the demands of the student, the public see the demands of the student as something good for the future of the country. So they agree with the demands of the student. They support the student. So this is also the reason why student has been able to overcome the obstacle along the way of the protest march. So students are now camping at 11:10 town, waiting for the parliament to amend the national education law.
Mm-hmm. And for all of you, why do you support personally to repeal the education law, the current one?
So it's mainly because we agree with the demands of the students. So students had put forward this demand, 11-point demand.
Can you tell us what is the 11-point demand?
The law. So some of the point in the demands include a bigger budget allocation for the education sector and freedom for the student to form student unions. So currently, student unions are not allowed to operate freely in universities. Authorities do not recognize, the government do not recognize student union as legal entities. So students are asking for a legal recognition from the government for their organization. So that's another point of demand. And then students are asking for a decentralization of the system. So currently, the current national education laws give so much power to the committee. So the committee is not founded yet. The law say a committee needs to be established, and then the law gives so much power to that committee to take central power over across the school across the country. And then there is the issue of these ethnic languages. So at the moment, the law say school subject need to be taught in the Burmese language, which is the majority population's language of the majority population. But in many areas of the country, it is not easy for the students from ethnic area to study the school subject in Burmese, because that's not the subject they are familiar with. Also, there is a concern from the ethnic population about their language. They worry that their language will disappear. So these are some of the points that we totally agree with the students. So this is also why we are also supporting the student strikes.
Mm-hmm. Currently, what is the current education system in Myanmar? Just to be clear, because you mentioned that they demand to have ethnic language to be included in the education system. Right now, are they included in the education system? And right now, what is the format of or the framework of education system in Burma?
Actually, the current education system is actually already is totally totally centralized, and also we ethnic people they don't have the right to find their own language. And also now for example, the curriculum is only written in Burmese and also is not in the ethnic language, so that for the ethnic people they cannot learn. And they have difficulties to learn, and they have difficulties to get graduate is because as they don't speak Burmese, as they just speak only their mother tongue language. So there's the problems for the ethnic people. So these are happening right now. So is the problems right now, and also there are so many different problems as well. So that's why once students are demanding 11 points, these 11 points are making the education laws to be the good one. So that's why we are supporting the student movement, and also we want the current education law to be changed.
Mm-hmm. We will take a short break. When we return, we will discuss more on the power of the Myanmar government in controlling the education system in Burma. Monday Morning Matters. Perspectives from Southeast Asia. Hi, this is Arlene and you're back again at Durian ASEAN, where we discuss critical issues in Southeast Asia. This time we are focusing on Myanmar on its new education law and the Burmese student strikes against the bill. And right now with me is Joseph Wah, Bobo and Thiha Wintin. So I want to ask, so how bad right now, what you guys early on has mentioned is the system in Burma is very centralized, the education system, and this has crippled the quality of education in your country. Can you share with me how bad it has become in terms of the quality of the students today and the quality of critical thinking and freedom of expression among the younger generation in Myanmar?
အဓိကကတော့ဟိုစားအစိုးရအနေနဲ့ဘို့ချုပ်ကင်မှုစရှိပြီဆိုကြတဲ့ကျွန်တော်တို့ကျောင်းသားတွေအနေနဲ့ကလွတ်လပ်စွာပေါ့နော်လွတ်လပ်စွာတွေးခေါ်ပိုင်ခွင့်မရှိဘူးတင်ရုံညွှန်းနှန်းကအစားကျောင်းသားတွေကမပါဝင်မဲနဲ့ဆရာတွေကနေပြီးတော့ဒီအစိုးရကနေပြီးတော့ပေါ့နော်တစ်ဖက်သက် curriculum တွေချထားတာတွေရှိတယ်ဒါတွေကိုကျွန်တော်တို့တွေကလိုက်တင်နေရတယ်ပြီးတော့နောက်တစ်ခုကကျွန်တော်တို့ဆောင်ရွက်ဖြည့်တဲ့စနစ်မှာတင်ကျွန်တော်တို့တွေကအလွတ်ကျက်အလွတ်ဖြည့်ဆိုတဲ့တင်ကြားမှုစနစ်နဲ့ဒါကျွန်တော်တို့သွားနေရတယ်အဲ့ဒါအဓိကအားဖြင့်ကျောင်းသားတွေရဲ့ဒီပေါ့နော်ဒီထွင်ဖန်တီးနိုင်မှုစွမ်းအားကိုလည်းပြောကြစေနိုင်တယ်ပြီးတော့နောက်တစ်ချက်ကကျွန်တော်တို့ကျောင်းကောင်စီထဲမှာကျောင်းသားသမဂ္ဂကိုယ်စားလှယ်တွေမပါဘဲနဲ့အစိုးရအုပ်ချုပ်တယ်ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ကျောင်းသားတွေရဲ့လူလားချက်တောင်းဆိုချက်တွေဒီနစ်နာမှုတွေကိုပြောပေးမဲ့ကိုယ်စားလှယ်လည်းမရှိဘူးဒါတွေကစိုးကျိုးတွေပေါ့နော်ဘာဖြစ်လို့လဲဆိုတော့ဒီကျောင်းသားတွေဆိုတာကနိုင်ငံတော်ကတစ်ချိန်မှာပေါ့နော်တိုင်းပြည်ရဲ့အနာဂတ်ခေါင်းဆောင်တွေဖြစ်တယ်ဒီလိုအနာဂတ်ခေါင်းဆောင်တွေကကျွန်တော်တို့သတ်မှတ်ထားတာကကျောင်းသားသမဂ္ဂဆိုတာကဒီကျောင်းသားတွေအတွက်ပါလီမန်တစ်ခုလို့သတ်မှတ်ထားတယ်ဒီကနေပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့အလေးအကျင့်တွေယူပြီးတော့မှကျွန်တော်တို့တွေကနိုင်ငံကိုအုပ်ချုပ်ကြမှာဖြစ်တယ်အခုကကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီမှာပါလီမန်မရှိတဲ့အတွက်ကျောင်းသားတွေအနေအထားမျိုးနဲ့ကဒီနိုင်ငံရေးအတွေ့အကြုံတွေနေပါစေနိုင်တယ်ဗျ
So when we have a centralized system, one of the first problem with the system is that the central government have too much control over the content of the curriculum. So most of the time they decide what should be in the school textbook without any sort of consultation with the public. So they will decide what students learn, and this has been very problematic for the in terms of the capacity of the students, and then the teaching style. So because the central authority control the school, the teaching style has become very teaching style do not promote critical thinking at all. It has it only tell the student what to think, so they don't allow the student what to think. So they decide what to think. They decide for the student what to think. There's no opportunity for student to be creative to have a critical thinking. And then students, there is no student representative. So when you don't have a student representative, the government don't get to hear the student voice anymore. So anything that the student want to say, there's nobody who will speak for them, because the student council managed by the government and controlled by the government. This is also one of the reasons why students are saying that there should be independent student unions representing students. So they should be able to form those unions freely. It will be like a parliament system of parliament for the students. So this is where students will have discussion about issue related to the education, issue related to their future. So this is why the students are asking for independent student unions.
Right now, the students are bringing the issue all the way to the parliament. But as we all know, 25% of the parliament consists of the military regime. How can the students be able to voice out their concern when currently democracy in Myanmar is still a long way to go, it seems like?
အဓိကတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့အနေနဲ့ကျောင်းသားတွေအနေနဲ့တောင်းဆိုတဲ့အနေထားမျိုးမှာ၄ပွင့်ဆိုင် full body dialogue ကိုကျွန်တော်တို့စတင်ပြီးတော့တောင်းဆိုတယ်ဒီ၄ပွင့်ဆိုင်မှာ၄ပွင့်ဆိုင်ဆွေးနွေးပွဲမှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကျောင်းသားကိုယ်စားလှယ်တွေပါတယ်ကျောင်းသားကိုယ်စားလှယ်ပါတယ်နောက်တစ်ဖက်ကတော့ NNDR လို့ခေါ်တဲ့နိုင်ငံလုံးဆိုင်ရာပညာရေးပြုပြင်ပြောင်းလဲကွန်ရက်ပေါ့နော်အဲ့ဒီမှာဆရာများသမဂ္ဂကောကျောင်းသားတွေကောပညာရှင်တွေရောပါဝင်နေပြီးတော့အစိုးရရဲ့လွှတ်တော်ရဲ့ဒီ၄ပွင့်ဆိုင်ကနေပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့သဘောတူညီချက်ဆက်တစ်ချက်ရခဲ့တယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါကကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီကျောင်းသားနဲ့NNDR ပဲရေးဆွဲထားတာမဟုတ်ဘဲနဲ့အစိုးရနဲ့လွှတ်တော်မှာပါတာဝန်ရှိတယ်အခုဒီပြောချင်တာကဒီလွှတ်တော်ထဲမှာ25%ပါတယ်ဆိုပေမဲ့ကျွန်တော်တို့ကပြန်ကြည့်ရမှာဒီပညာရေးဥပဒေမူကြမ်းကအတိုင်းပြည်အတွက်ကောင်းတယ်ဆိုတာအားလုံးတန်တရားရှိစရာမလိုဘူးအဲ့လိုတိုင်းပြည်အတွက်ကောင်းတဲ့အရာတွေကိုလွှတ်တော်ထဲမှာဆွေးနွေးလို့ရှိရင်ဘယ်အမတ်ကကန့်ကွက်တယ်ဘယ်အမတ်ကတော့ထောက်ခံတယ်ဆိုတာကိုပြည်သူတွေကကြည့်ပါလိမ့်မယ်ပြည်သူတွေကြည့်ပြီးတော့ကန့်ကွက်တဲ့လူတွေကတိုင်းပြည်ကိုတကယ်ကိုကောင်းစေခြင်းနဲ့စေတနာမရှိဘူးဆိုတာပြည်သူတွေမြင်လို့ရှိရင်တော့ဒါကတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီကျောင်းသားတွေရဲ့လှုပ်ရှားမှုရဲ့အကျိုးကျေးဇူးတစ်ခုလို့ကျွန်တော်တို့မြင်တယ်ဗျ
So this is why students have been holding these different protest marches and the demand of the protest march is that the government should initiate four-party dialogues. So party of the dialogue will include student representative, network of national education, network of national education reform, and the government representative and the parliament representative. So this is like a framework outside of the current legal system. So students ask for this dialogue between these four parties, and it happened already. So in the dialogue, the government and the parliament agreed that they will include those 11 points demanded by the student when they amend the current education law. So they say they has agreed to those points principally. They principally agree to those points, but they have to go through the legislation process to amend the current education law and to include the points from the students. And it's true there are 25% of military representative in the parliament, but when the parliament discuss about the amendment to the current education law, it will be visible to the public that which MP is in favor of the amendment to the law and which MPs are not, and then people will see that who are really working for the good of the country. That's at least some positive perspective of the impact of the student strike.
So what do you foresee in the upcoming decision at Naypyidaw?
ဒါကတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဆုံးဖြတ်တာမဟုတ်တဲ့အတွက်ဒါလွှတ်တော်နဲ့ပဲသက်ဆိုင်မယ်လို့ကျွန်တော်တို့ခံမှန်းရတယ်ဗောနော်ဒါပေမဲ့ကျွန်တော်တို့ပြောချင်တာကတော့ဒီပညာရေးဥပဒေဆိုတာတိုင်းပြည်ရဲ့အနာဂတ်အတွက်ကောင်းကျိုးဖြစ်တယ်ကောင်းကျိုးဖြစ်တာကိုမှကျွန်တော်တို့ကကန့်ကွက်မယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကျွန်တော်တို့ကျောင်းသားလှုပ်ရှားမှုတွေရဲ့နောက်ထပ်တစ်ပိတ်တစ်လုံးဟာလွှတ်တော်အတွက်ကိုကျွန်တော်တို့ကဥတည်ပြီးတော့တိုက်ကပါလိမ့်
So like the public has shown support to the education to the students' call because everyone believes this is good for the future of the country. So if the parliament do not want to amend the current education law and do not want to include the students' demand in when they amend the current education law, then the next student strike will be targeted to the parliament. So this is what the students are thinking of doing. So if the parliament do not amend the education law, including the points of demand from the student, then the student plan to have another strike targeting the parliament exclusively.
What are you going to do? What are the students going to do if the government doesn't listen to the students' voices?
So the students will resume the protest marches. And they are hoping to do it at a larger scale. Currently, the protests are on hold. They are suspended. Protests are being suspended because they want to observe the legislation process. So they want to give time to the parliament to approve the amendment to the education law. But if the result is not in line with what the students are demanding, then the students will resume the strike and enter Rangoon region. And this time the protest, like it's been mentioned, the protest will be targeted. Okay, so if the parliament do not include the students' call in when they amend the current education law, students will resume the protest strike. The protests are being suspended because students want to observe the legislation process. So a new draft law has been finalized and put forward to the parliament. Parliament are supposed to discuss this new draft law. And if the parliament do not approve amendment to the current education law, then students will resume those protests. And this time, the protests were targeted exclusively at the parliament, and the protests will be at larger scale. So
how large the scale would be?
So it will become a nationwide protest. So what happened with the protest strike before is that different student groups marched from different areas of the country toward Rangoon. And this time they will all come together. They haven't reached to Rangoon yet. The government does not want them to enter Rangoon. So they made a deal, and the student agreed to the deal and say, we will not enter Rangoon region yet. This is when students are now camping outside of Rangoon region, waiting for the result of the legislation process. If the result of the legislation process do not meet the demand of the student, then students will all collectively enter Rangoon and have a nationwide collective protest all together in Rangoon.
Mm-hmm. Right now, most of the protests are in which area of Myanmar?
အခုလက်ရှိမှာတော့ကျောင်းသားစစ်ကြောင်းက3ကျောင်းရှိရပေါ့နော်ကျွန်တော်တို့ပင်မစစ်ကြောင်းอ่ะဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဘူတိုင်းဒေတာကြီးလက်ပံတန်းမြို့မှာကျွန်တော်တို့ကဒီလွှတ်တော်မှာအတည်ပြုပြဋ္ဌာန်းမှုအတွက်တတိထားကြည့်စွာနဲ့စောင့်ကြည့်နေတယ်လွှတ်တော်မှာကျွန်တော်တို့တိကျခိုင်မာတဲ့ဂတိကဝတ်ကိုမရလို့ရှင်ကျွန်တော်တို့မူလရည်မှန်းထားတဲ့အတိုင်းရန်ကုန်ကိုတိုက်ပွဲတရံနဲ့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဝင်ရလိမ့်မယ်တချို့စစ်ကြောင်းတွေဖြစ်တဲ့တဝယ်တို့ ARD တို့ကလည်းသူတို့ဒေတာတွေမှာပေါ့နော် ARD တိုင်းမှာလည်းရှိတယ်တဝယ်မှာလည်းသူတို့တွေစောင့်ကြည့်နေကြတယ်ဗျ
And so at the moment, students are waiting. Some of the students are waiting in Lepandan township in Bogor region. Some are in Ayawadi region. Some are in Bogor region. And Temindari Dawei region. So they are waiting for the result of the legislation process in different parts of the country. So they have marched toward Rangoon, but because they made a deal with the government that they will not continue the protest march, the government agreed that they will proceed the legislation process. So protests are on hold in different parts of the country. And if the result of the legislation process do not meet the demand of the student, then all of the students from different regions will come to Rangoon as initially planned.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more about the Democratic Education Movement Committee, which was formed because of the protest itself.
The Democracy ပညာရေးဥဆောင်ကော်မတီဆိုတာကျွန်တော်တို့အစောကြီးကတည်းကဒီပညာရေးဥပဒေနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့အမျိုးသားပညာရေးဥပဒေကျမ်းမှာကတည်းကကိုကျွန်တော်တို့တွေတွဲဆုံဆွေးနွေးရေးနဲ့အဖြေရှာဖို့အတွက်ကြိုးစားတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ ဒီအစိုးရအနေနဲ့ကကျွန်တော်တို့ရဲ့သွေးဆောင်ဆွေးနွေးမှုကိုပြစ်ပယ်ပြီးတော့ကျောင်းသားပြည်သူကိုအခြေမခံဘဲနဲ့သူတို့ကိုယ်တိုင်တစ်ဖက်သက်ဒီပညာရေးဥပဒေကိုရေးဆွဲခဲ့တယ်ရေးဆွဲခဲ့တဲ့အချိန်အနေထားမျိုးမှာကျွန်တော်တို့ကျောင်းသားတွေအားလုံးပူးပေါင်းပြီးတော့အဲ့ဒီမှာကျွန်တော်တို့ဗမာနိုင်ငံလုံးဆိုင်ရာကျောင်းသားသမဂ္ဂများအဖွဲ့ချုပ်ပါတယ်ဒီတက္ကသိုလ်ကျောင်းသားသမဂ္ဂအဖွဲ့တွေပါတယ်ပြီးတော့မြေလက်ကဘာကတာပါတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီတုံးအဖွဲ့ပေါင်းပြီးတော့ကျောင်းသားတို့အရေးပေါ်အစည်းအဝေးကိုခေါ်တယ်အစည်းအဝေးကိုခေါ်ပြီးတော့မှကျွန်တော်တို့ကျောင်းသားတွေအားလုံးရဲ့ဆုံးဖြတ်ချက်နဲ့ဒီမိုကရေစီပညာရေးဥဆောင်ကော်မတီဆိုပြီးတော့15ဦးပေါ်လာတယ်ကျောင်းသားတို့ရဲ့ဆုံးဖြတ်ချက်အရပဲကျွန်တော်တို့စီမှာဆွေးနွေးပွဲကိုအကြိမ်ကြိမ်လုပ်ပေးမယ်အစိုးရဘက်ကကျွန်တော်တို့အတိအမှတ်မပြုတဲ့အတွက်ကျွန်တော်တို့မှာရွေးချယ်စရာလမ်းမရှိတဲ့အတွက်တပိတ်မှောက်ဖို့အတွက်ဆုံးဖြတ်ခဲ့ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီတိုက်ပွဲကိုစတင်ခဲ့တယ်
So different student representative from different part of the country has engaged with the government before current education law was approved. Since it was in drafting process, students and civil society has been engaging with the government to make sure that the law promote democracy and is in line with democratic principle. But the government did not listen to the voice of the students and other actors. They went on and approved the law. This is why, and after they approved the law, students came together, students from across the country came together and have a comprehensive nationwide student conference. And from that conference is Action Committee for Democratic Education was formed. It's a 15-member committee, and then it has been leading current protest strikes.
Mm-hmm. We will take a short break. When we return, we will discuss more on the future of Myanmar's education law.
Monday Morning Matters. Perspectives from Southeast Asia.
This is Arlene, and you're still with me, and also with Joseph Wah, Bobo, and Thiha Wintint to talk about the education rights and also the student protests in Myanmar right now regarding on the new education law. So my question is about some quarters in Myanmar that are actually supporting the government not to amend the education bill but to maintain the education bill. And I'm talking about the Burma's nationalist Buddhist movement, the Mabata. Why they seem to be against the students' decision to amend the education bill?
အဓိကကတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီတန်ဃာတော်တွေနဲ့ကျောင်းသားတွေကြားမှာနားလည်မှုလွဲသွားတာဖြစ်တယ်။အဲဒီကိစ္စနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီဘဂတများအဖွဲ့ချုပ်ကကျောင်းသားတွေအနေနဲ့မနေ့ကကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီမဘာသာကဆရာတော်တွေကိုရှောက်ထားပြီးတော့ရှင်းလင်းပြခဲ့တာတွေရှိတယ်။ရှောက်ထားပြီးရှင်းလင်းပြတဲ့အချိန်တွေထားမျိုးမဘာသာကဆရာတော်တွေအနေနဲ့နားလည်သွားတယ်။နားလည်ပြီးတော့သူတို့လည်းလက်ခံတယ်။ဒါပေမဲ့တန်ဃာထုကြားတွေကိုလည်းဒါတွေကိုသိအောင်လို့ရှင်းပြပါဆိုတဲ့မေတ္တာရက်ခံချက်အရာကျွန်တော်တို့အနေနဲ့မနေ့ပြန်ကြားလို့ရှိရင်ဒီတန်ဃာတွေနဲ့ကျွန်တော်တို့ကျောင်းသားတွေနဲ့အပြန်အလှန်ဆွေးနွေးပွဲလေးလုပ်ဖို့စီစဉ်ရှိတယ်လို့
So in the initial state of the student protest, there has been misunderstanding between monks associations and student representatives. So the students yesterday they held this consultation and all public briefing yesterday in Rangoon, and these monks representatives from the Mapata also attended the public briefing, and they exchanged their opinion, and the students clarified their demands, and there seems to be a better understanding between the these monks association and the students. So the monks representative that came to the briefing yesterday, they said they agree with the students, so they become clearer about the student demand after the clarification. So they request the student to have more discussion with other monks association and other monks population to have similar kind of discussion that they had yesterday, so that there will be a better understanding within the monk population about the students' demand.
That's very interesting. that means that it's just a misunderstanding between the Buddhist group and also the students group, which has been clarified. Is that what you mean?
So it has been clarified to Mapata. So there are other monks association and monks population from other regions. So Mapata representative yesterday said students should have more discussion with the monks representative. So students are planning to have more discussion in the future. They are actually planning to have a consultation with some monk association tomorrow. So hopefully that will clarify students' demand, and the monks' population will become clearer about the students' demand.
Mm-hmm. As you all know, the election in Burma is around the corner. It will be in this year, November. So do you think actually your time to push for government reform is actually quite limited, because after the election probably there will be a new sort of governance where you have to approach new leaders to further the students' voices and concern on the new education bill?
အဓိကအနေနဲ့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီမေကွန်းဆိုင်ဆွေးနွေးပွဲမစတင်ခင်မှာကျွန်တော် precondition ထဲမှာပါတယ်ဗောနော် precondition ထဲမှာပါတာကရပ်ပေါင်း150အတွင်းမှာဒီဥပဒေမူကြမ်းကိုအတည်ပြုဖို့ဆိုပြီးတော့အစိုးရဘက်ကကတိပေးခဲ့တယ်။ဒါကြောင့်မို့လို့ဒီကျွန်တော်တို့အနေနဲ့တတ်မှတ်လို့ရတာကဒီနောက် election တက်တန်းအောင်တော့မရောက်ဘူးလို့တော့ကျွန်တော်တို့တတ်မှတ်လို့ရတယ်။ဒါပေမဲ့အစိုးရအနေနဲ့သူပေးထားတဲ့ကတိအပေါ်ဘယ်လောက်ထိသစ္စာရှိစွာစောင့်တည်မယ်ဆိုတာစောင့်တည်မယ်ဆိုတာကတော့ဒါကတော့အစိုးရရဲ့အပိုင်းပဲဖြစ်တယ်ဗျ။
So the students have foresee this issue. So before they had dialogue with the government and parliament representative, they put forward this precondition. One of the points in the precondition is that any agreement made between the dialogue party, it has to be put into law in 150 days. So that's before the election. So that agreement has been made already. The government committed to that timeline already. So if they keep their promise, then we should not have a problem with the timeline for the election. But then we have to wait and see if they are going to keep their promise.
Mm-hmm. What about the opposition leader, especially Aung San Suu Kyi? Has she been supportive of the students' demands?
So the student representative had informal discussion with her. So the result of the discussion was that she also principally support the students' demands. But because she is going to contest in the election, they can support the student demands, but they cannot cooperate. That's one of their principles. So showing support is one thing, cooperation is another thing. So they are not able to cooperate, but they do support these students' demand.
Lastly, I want to ask you, how serious do you think President Thein Sein and also the Burmese government on reforming the education? Do you think they are just merely giving lip service, or do you think they sincerely want to transit the Myanmar government as well as Myanmar as a whole into a democratic nation?
I think for the president, whether if they are sincere about the current reform process on education sector or not, if we are organized, if we are united in our call and our action, then they will have to listen to us. So we will not know how sincere they are, but if we push hard enough, then they will have to listen to us. So that's more of things that depends on us. It's how hard we can push.
Let me say something about that concerning with the government willingness to the educational reform or not. Okay, to my personal point of view, everybody in our country, everybody, including government, all the people, know that education system is not good. It needs to be reformed. So, we all have the responsibility to reform the education. So, current government, whether are they going to reform the educational law or not? To my personal point of view, they know they have to change it, but they will handle it systematically to not to give all the power, or not to open the power, and also not to lose their they don't want to lose their power, because now it also relating with the political point of view as well. Government thought if they agree all the things to the right now, if they agree all the things to the students, it means that in other cases, for example, like labor rights, labor demands, and also another some another issues demands. So the government thought that if they give this one, they also have to give another one. So they worry. So the overall is they know they have to give, but they dare not to give quickly and easily, because if they give the demands of the students right now, they're afraid that they also have to give other rights, like labor rights, like farmer rights, like that, blah blah blah, like that. So this is the point.
အဓိကကျွန်တော်တို့အနေနဲ့မြင်တာကတော့အစိုးရအနေနဲ့ယခုလိုပြုလုပ်နေတဲ့ဆွေးနွေးပွဲတွေကဒါကတော့နိုင်ငံရေးပြုလုပ်တာလို့ကျွန်တော်တို့မြင်တယ်ဖြစ်လို့ရဲဆိုတော့အစိုးရမှာတကယ်စစ်မှန်တဲ့စေနာတာရှိမယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကျွန်တော်တို့ကအစိုးရကလေးကဆွေးနွေးပွဲလမ်းကြောင်းကိုဖွင့်ထားပါရဲ့နဲ့အစိုးရအနေနဲ့ဒီဥပဒေမူကြမ်းတွေကပေါ့နော်တစ်ဖက်သက်အတည်ပြုပြဋ္ဌာန်းတော့ရတယ်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ကျောင်းသားတို့အရေးပေါ်အစည်းအဝေးကချမှတ်တဲ့အတိုင်းကျွန်တော်တို့တပိတ်၄ရက်မှောက်တယ်၄ရက်မှောက်ပြီးတဲ့အချိန်မှာကျွန်တော်တို့ထပ်ဆောင်နေတယ်ဆွေးနွေးပွဲလမ်းကြောင်းတဲ့ရပ်ပေါင်း60ရာခိုင်နှုန်းပေးပြီးတော့စောင့်တယ်ဒီကြားထဲမှာလည်းကျွန်တော်တို့ကိုဆွေးနွေးမှုတစုံတရာမပြုလုပ်ခဲ့ဘူးကမ်းလှမ်းမှုမပြုလုပ်ခဲ့ဘူးပေါ့နော်ရပ်ပေါင်း60ပြည့်လို့ကျွန်တော်တို့စထွက်လာတဲ့အချိန်မှာတောင်မှကျွန်တော်တို့ကိုဆွေးနွေးပွဲစတင်ဖို့ကမ်းလှမ်းမှုမပြုလုပ်ခဲ့ဘူးဒါပေမဲ့ကျွန်တော်တို့မြင်းကြံရောက်လာတဲ့အချိန်မှာလူထုအားတွေဝန်းရံမှုတွေများလာတဲ့အချိန်ကြတော့မှသူကဆွေးနွေးပွဲလုပ်ဖို့ကမ်းလှမ်းတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ဆွေးနွေးပွဲလုပ်ဖို့ကိုဒါရိုက်ကမ်းလှမ်းတာမဟုတ်ဘဲနဲ့ကျွန်တော်တို့ကိုတစ်ဖက်မှာတောင်တာဘက်မှာလုံသိန်းနေနဲ့ပိတ်ပြီးတော့မှတစ်ဖက်ကဖိအားပေးပြီးတော့တစ်ဖက်ကဆွေးနွေးပွဲကိုအတားရအောင်စပြီးတော့အဲ့မှာကမ်းလှမ်းတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါတွေကိုကြည့်ချင်းအပြင်အစိုးရစေနာမှန်နဲ့လုပ်နေတာမဟုတ်ဘဲနဲ့ဒါမယူတော့ဆိုတာကျွန်တော်တို့မြင်တယ်ပြီးတော့အခုဂျားထဲမှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လည်းကျွန်တော်တို့တွေ့နေရတာကျွန်တော်တို့ကဆွေးနွေးပွဲကနေရလက်ကောင်းဖို့အတွက်မျှော်လင့်ပေမဲ့အစိုးရဘက်ကနေဆွေးနွေးပွဲလုပ်ထားတယ်ဒီဂျားထဲမှာကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီចောင်းသားတွေပေါ့နော်10တန်းចောင်းသားတွေအတွက်ကျွန်တော်တို့စာမှုပွဲတွေအထီးကိုက်ဖြစ်မှာဆိုလို့ကျွန်တော်တို့နားနေတဲ့အချိန်မှာအစိုးရအနေနဲ့တံမြန်တပိတ်တွေကိုလုပ်တယ်ပြီးတော့ចောင်းသားတပိတ်ကိုဒီတိတ်ခါချစေနိုင်တဲ့အတုံးအနှုံးတွေပနိုင်တွေကိုချိတ်ဆွဲပြီးတော့လုပ်တယ်ဒါအောင်ကြည့်ချင်းအပြင်အစိုးရအနေနဲ့ယခုလိုလုပ်နေတာကနိုင်ငံတကာရဲ့ဖိအားအရာကောနိုင်ငံရေးအရာကောဟန်ပြလှုပ်ဆောင်တာလို့လားကျွန်တော်တို့မြင်တယ်အဲ့ဒီတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ចောင်းသားတွေပြည်သူတွေနိုင်ငံတကာကပါဖိအားပေးမှတာကျွန်တော်တို့လိုချင်တဲ့ဥစ္စာကိုရမယ်လို့ကျွန်တော်တို့မြင်တယ်ဗျ
So if we talk about the sincerity of the government, how sincere they are in terms of reforming the education sector, we really don't think they really want to reform this education sector effectively, because since the drafting process of the law, before the law was even approved, the student has been trying to make sure that it's the right law that they were approved, but they didn't listen to the student. It was a long period for them to listen to the student, and after they approved the law, the student have the 4-day strikes demanding for dialogue, and then they give 60 days for the government to respond to their call for dialogue. The government didn't listen. Only when the students have these protests, long day protest march, and then only when the public show a lot of support to the student, then they started to respond to the students' call, and then they started to have these hold these dialogues. So that's looking at that, you can really see this the government like playing it politically instead of looking at as a matter of education. They look at it as a political matter. If the students student push hard enough, then they will start to respond. If the student don't push hard enough, even if their calls are relevant, even if their calls are legitimate, governments, they won't listen. So there has been also many attempts from the government trying to delegitimize the student representative. They also trying to organize other protests that support the current education law. So it's like a countering the students' call. They're trying to show that the current student protests are illegitimate because there are other people who like the current education law. So there has been many attempts like that, and also there has been attempts to crack down on the student protests. So if you look at these things, you can really see how sincere they are, how serious they are, and what's their willingness about reforming this education law. So we really don't think they are sincere, but if they haven't have much of a choice because of the pressure from the international community, because of pressure from the student, pressure from the public. So that's the way we have to move forward. That's how we will go forward.
Mm-hmm. With that, thank you very much. Thanks Joseph Wah, Bobo, and Thiha Wintin for sharing your views. I hope that the students in Burma will finally get their voices heard, and hopefully the new education bill can be reformed into something where it will uphold academic freedom and freedom of expression for both students and teachers. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.